For more, get NFL team reports at cbs.sportsline.com. AOL keyword CBS Sportsline.
Well, Denver going with 4 wide, 3 to the top of the field. And again, the lack of timeouts, they're going to have to make something big happen in a hurry.
Rod Smith, who has been coming up with the big catches for the Broncos, gets short yardage, 9 on first down with the clock running, down to a minute.
Same formation.
Greasy flushed out of the pocket to the sideline, and it is almost intercepted by Eric Warfield.
Trying to get the ball, I believe, to Travis McGriff over on the sideline, and I think there might have been a chance that Mike Shanahan's heart might have skipped a beat right here at the end when Warfield almost steps right in front of that thing and comes up. That's a dangerous way to live, throwing that football on the sideline.
Warfield, who's been around a lot of balls today, with a chance. He's from Nebraska, and fans and friends from the Lincoln area here to watch him and cheer him today.
Well, we saw Eric Warfield on opening day step right in front of Jerry Rice and take a Rich Gannon pass into the end zone for a touchdown. The season wasn't a minute old, and Eric Warfield already had a touchdown.
51-yard play. It's 3rd down and 1. I don't know what this discussion is about. There's 48 seconds left in the half. They moved the ball back a half a foot. Apparently, the spot was inaccurate. That gives the Broncos a chance to get set.
He's more than happy to give them a quarterback sneak for the first down as the clock continues to grind away.
Good news, Dan, is that Dan Neal, number 62, back on that offensive line for the Broncos after injuring an ankle, and Greasy stops the clock at 35 seconds.
Yeah, Dan Neal sprained his left ankle. He got it taped up pretty heavily over on the sideline. You can see he's walking, well, he's walking with a bit of a limp back to the huddle. But again, the Denver Broncos only dressed 7 offensive linemen for this game, and so they're a lot of teams dress 8 during the course of a game. So the Broncos with only 7, they can't afford to have a guy like Neal out for the rest of the game.
Greasy just 50% on his throws this first half. Rod Smith twists away, and he has the first down at the 45, but it costs time, and the clock runs. 23 seconds. Greasy going to down the ball here and stops the clock. 20 seconds. And a flag down. 2 of them. Yeah, but as so many of these games in this long-standing rivalry going back to AFL days, physical. Whatever it is, you play a team twice in your division. There's a lot of memories, not all of them
False
good.
start. Offense, number 62. That foul, while the clock is running, under 1 minute, requires a 10-second runoff. The snap came at 21. Please set the game clock to 11.
Mike Carey's explanation here is that when you have a penalty like that without a timeout, there's a 10-second runoff on the clock. So Denver being called for the false start not only has a penalty, but it's not that easy to stop the clock. They run 10 seconds off. There's a price to be paid.
And of course, the thought here for Mike Shanahan, the Broncos try to get down across the 50-yard line, hope that Elam might kick a long field goal at the end of the half.
Well, and they've got to hope that maybe Kansas City gets called for some kind of an interference or something on a long pass, because it can't end on a defensive penalty. That's the other thing.
Greasy steps up and then runs right into a white jersey as Derek Ransom, the 4th-year defensive tackle from Cincinnati, there with the play. And that'll be the end of the first half. Broncos won 50 of their last 55 games when leading at the half, but they led at half last week by a similar score against the Baltimore Ravens and lost. Bonnie?
All right, well, the Chiefs held to 2 field goals. Mike, can you talk about the importance of your defense and how they've really kept Trent Green in check, particularly in the red zone?
Yeah, they really have. And we had an opportunity down here to make a play and really keep them back up. backed up, and obviously we're going to take advantage of it with that tip. But we got to just play a little bit better on offense. We had a penalty just not being set. We got that called back, and hopefully we'll get our rhythm back in the second half.
All right, Coach, thank you.
And the big producer for the Broncos, Mike Anderson, over 100 yards rushing and a 62-yard touchdown run at the intermission. The Broncos 10, the Chiefs 6.
PEA Sports presents the Nextel Direct Connect Halftime Report. Nextel, get right through.
Welcome to the Nextel Halftime Report. Jim Nance from our NFL Today studios in New York. Mike Ditka, Randy Cross, Jerry Glanville alongside a couple of audiences in right now. There is a little theme here developing today. Running backs who did not begin the season as starters, making a big impact, including Mike Anderson of the Broncos.
Mike Anderson in the two-back set, cuts it back, 62-yard touchdown. He steps out at the 4, but the officials miss it. He has 106 yards for the day. And what about Kansas City? They got Priest Holmes. Priest Holmes has 35 yards for the day. Look at he steps out. He's out.
He's still out.
Come on, Jim. Bring it back, baby.
No, not reviewed. Touchdown. And meanwhile, let's talk about another running back, Sean Alexander, filling in for the injured Ricky Waters. How about his play?
Doing really good. They don't lose much with Alexander in the game. I'll tell you the big thing, Trent Dilfer is playing very well. He threw an interception right before the half. It was one of those Hail Mary throws. Playing good.
Meanwhile, the Cowboys lost quarterback Quincy Carter early in that game with a hamstring injury. And look at the Jets and Bills, 28-15. Rob Johnson, this is rule the fumble. They did review it.
Absolutely. Mo Lewis caused that. John Abraham picks it up. The Jets are doing what the Niners did to him Monday night, running it.
All right. Green Bay and Tampa Bay, and that is 7-7 with 27 seconds to go in the half. Brett Favre picked, run back the other way for a touchdown, then later threw a 67-yard score to Bill Schrader. All right, here we go. Settling down now with finals. Tennessee has matched its loss total of a year ago. 0-3 the Titans.
Early in the game, they drive down and hand it to Terry Allen on the draw play. He goes 9 yards per touchdown. And this is what they've been lacking in past years. Big plays. And here's they get one from the Elvis back way down the field to Bobby Ismail for a touchdown, 78 yards.
Allen went over 100 yards today rushing for the Ravens, who are now 3-1. Hey, the Browns matched their entire win total from last season, their third win, beating the Chargers with 1:15 to go.
How about Tim Couch going to Kevin Johnson here for the game-winning score? Cleveland played some defense against the Bolts.
Little history day there in Pittsburgh, the opening of Heinz Field, and Jerome Bettis over 10,000 yards, 14th player to do so.
They stopped the game here and give him the game ball. He goes on and rushes for over 130 yards. And the Steelers have over 275 yards rushing. There's a quarterback draw by Cordell Stewart. He can run like a running back. He just can't throw.
I'll tell you another running back to talk about. That is Lamar Smith.
Big day, 144 yards. Here he takes a little handoff up the middle, bounces it out to the right, takes it in from 7 yards. They're playing good. Good, solid defense. They gave up no defensive touchdown.
Miami's 3-1. So are the Giants, who went with Damon Washington. He had one career carry in 2 seasons. Then after Ron Dane sprained his neck, he got 25 attempts for 90 yards.
Well, here, Terry Collins goes up shot pass to Dan Campbell. Washington 0 for 11 on third down.
How about this finish? 4th and 10 for Arizona. 9-game losing streak on the line. Jake Plummer, he's beaten the Eagles before in the fourth quarter.
Watch him fake the pump, pulls the safety out, goes in the deep corner. Good run after the catch. Twist, turn, stretch it out. Cardinals win. Cardinals win. Breaking 9-game losing streak.
Unbelievable. 5th time Jake the Snake has led him to a fourth quarter comeback win over Philadelphia alone. Meanwhile, Chicago, the defense came up big.
They came up really big. Here's a trick play. It's a lateral to Booker. Booker throws it to Robinson. Touchdown. They knocked Chandler out of this game with his 5th concussion. The Bears were all over. The Bears could play defense game.
Hey, Booker threw one and caught one today, and the Saints got 5 field goals from Carney, including a 50-yarder. Ricky Williams over 100, and their defense shuts down Culpepper and company.
How about a little revenge for the Saints after that playoff loss last year? Darren Howard causes that fumble by Dante Culpepper, and Chris Oldham picks it up and takes it in. Sammy Knight takes it in for a touchdown.
And the Saints now, with that win, 2-1. Vikings slumped to 1-3. A programming note: due to the world events, the Emmy Awards will not take place this evening. Here is the lineup. It begins with a special 2-hour edition of 60 Minutes, featuring the latest developments in the counterattack on terrorism. Then it's Everybody Loves Raymond, followed by King of Queens and CSI. That's all coming up tonight right here on CBS. Back next, we'll have a CBS News update from Dan Ruther. Thanks for being with us on the Nextel Halftime Report.
CBS Sports presents
back at Invesco Field at Mile High, where the Denver Broncos lead 10-6. A look at the first half statistics. 35 yards rushing for Kansas City, so the Broncos defense tough in that regard. Pretty well balanced half with a big run by Mike Anderson of 62 yards for a touchdown. The difference, even though he appeared to be was out of bounds at the 3-yard line. Elam picks it off. Dante Hall. And he thought about it. Takes the touchback at the 20-yard line. Well, the AFC without an unbeaten team now. The Chargers losing to Cleveland today, and it does appear, especially here in the AFC West, this is going to be contentious all season long.
Good word, contentious. I think you're absolutely right. And the Chiefs, I think, have to be pleased with this showing. Again, they're on the road. I know that they've won here the last couple times, but again, you can never lose sight of the fact you're in Denver, and this is a place where a lot of teams have been routed. And Kansas City down only 10-6. You can't. No visiting team is upset trailing the Broncos only by 4 points at half.
Kansas City again has beaten Denver the last 4 times. Green comes out throwing wide open over the middle of minutes. And the rookie out to the 34-yard line, a first down. O'Neal makes the tackle. Bonnie?
Dan, you're exactly right. Dick Vermeil very happy with his defense. He said, I think we really only gave them one play. Offense, another story. We talked during the game about trying to put Tony Gonzalez in motion a lot, lining him up in different positions. He said, we really need to do a better job of that. We haven't gotten our mileage today out of Tony Gonzalez. Dick?
Thank you, Bonnie. Well, Vermeil, along with that graphic, so few coaches leading 2 teams to the Super Bowl, is the only coach in history to win the Rose Bowl with UCLA and the Super Bowl with the St. Louis Rams. Triple right, and then Alexander in motion. On first down, Green fires again, and then Alexander at the 41-yard line, a gain of 6. Barry Alexander played his college ball at the University of Michigan. Out of Detroit, and his parents make the drive here to north to Kansas City to see him play every weekend.
And he's been nursing a pair of sore Achilles tendons. As you can imagine, that's the type of thing that it's tough to deal with during the game, but where it really hurts you is getting quality practice time. Stopping, starting, cutting. I can't imagine playing wide receiver with both of your Achilles giving you problems.
2nd and 4, Alexander in motion. Green to throw again. 3 straight passes to open this second half, and Priest Holmes has the first down as he carries it into Denver territory to the 48-yard line.
Well, Dick Vermeil brought Al Saunders, the offensive coordinator, with him from St. Louis, and he's really mixing things up. And as Dick said, 3 straight passes. Looks like Price is going to get in there, but Will Shields at the last minute just gives him enough of a push upfield to keep Price getting in on Trent Green. And Al Saunders has really gotten a system that he has sold to these guys. It's the same system that the Rams use, and why wouldn't you believe in that?
Quick hitting, and another pass. 4 in a row to open the half. This one is caught by Gonzalez, and how tough a grab was that?
Oh, geez, that ball low and away to the outside, and Tony reaches back and grabs that thing.
And another Bronco injury.
Look at this ball from Trent Green, not where he wanted it, and really was more towards Al Wilson, the middle linebacker, but Gonzalez just, look at this body control by Gonzalez, just staying where and going back and digging it out.
And meanwhile, a super player, Trevor Price, is down for the Broncos back at the 45-yard line, up to his feet. We asked Greg Robinson, the former defensive coordinator here now with Kansas City, if you could take one player and put him at any position on your defense in Kansas City from Denver's roster. He said, oh, this man, Trevor Price, he said, he changes the game. He's that good.
Well, anytime an interior defensive lineman gets 12 sacks, that's outstanding pass rushing skills from the defensive tackle position. Now, Denver bolstered themselves at the defensive line with Chester McLaughlin and Leon Lett, who we really haven't talked about a whole lot. Both of those guys have Pro Bowl experience. There's Leon Lett. He's been to a pair of them. Chester's gone to 4. The big cat, Leon Lett.
Dick Vermeil comes out firing in the second half. 4 straight completed passes, and now the draw to Priest Holmes, and Denver was waiting for that.
Go back to the passing game.
Al Wilson leading the charge from his middle backer position. A loss of a couple on the play. Back to the 41-yard line. It'll be third down and 13.
I don't know if
third and 3.
I don't know, Dick, if thinking that because Trevor Price came out of the game, maybe there'd be a soft spot there inside with that delay to Holmes. But Leon Lett's that right at home and stuffed it.
3 wide plus Gonzalez in the slot right. On third and 3, Green to throw. Blitz gets it off. Incomplete. One hopped it. The intended receiver, Chris Thomas.
I think Ian Gold was the blitzing linebacker. He comes in from the left right here, and he's going to be untouched to Trent Green. Now, the good news is that Green was working the left side of the field. He saw Gold coming, but didn't have a pattern develop quickly enough to be able to deliver the ball.
So this first series for Kansas City to open the second half, very promising with 4 straight completed passes, but it stalls at the Denver 41. Wyszynski to kick it to Delta O'Neill. Hanging them up high and showed you that backspin he can produce. Let's see about this one. Oh, got away from Larry Parker, number 80. He was down there, could have caught the ball. There was no Bronco around and would have had Denver pinned inside the 5.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
Well, fielding a punt is tough enough when you're looking at it all the way. Being an offensive guy, trying to figure out where your blockers are, where the goal line is, Larry Parker just didn't have a chance to find the football before it bounced.
Mike Anderson, the first carry of the second half after a very productive opening 30 minutes. Mark the tackle after short yardage. Anderson was the Denver offense that first half.
When you saw Larry Parker, imagine how hard it would be. You're fighting off 2 blockers, trying to sprint down the field. You then break free. You look over your shoulder. You see the footballs in the air.
You're trying to see where the goal line
is. That's right. And that thing isn't a pass coming at you on that lower angle of trajectory. That thing's dropping straight out of the sky.
Second down and 8. Anderson tries the other side, finds the bigger hole, but tripped up shy of the first down at the 28-yard line. But Greg Wesley came up from the safety spot with help from Eric Hicks. Let's take a look at Mike Anderson's efforts in that first half.
Well, Mike Anderson, power and speed, great blocking there. You see, takes Eric Warfield for about a 7-yard ride. Here comes Eric Warfield again from the left. This was the touchdown run, but remember, Mike Anderson actually stepped out of bounds. There's his left foot out of bounds at about the 2.5-yard line. There wasn't enough time for Kansas City to review it. The touchdown good. And stand.
Barreling for the first down. And it appears successfully. The Broncos now have it at the 31-yard line.
Boy, Dan Neal, the right guard, who injured his left ankle in the first half. You can tell he is really struggling to make it through it. He is showing some real grit and determination here. He's barely making it back to the huddle.
Meanwhile, Anderson now with 116 yards and 12 carries after his 1,487 yards as a rookie. 5 years of football, he's been over 1,000 yards every year. Takes the handoff from Greasy and plows out to the 37-yard line. As Dan pointed out earlier, Anderson not playing at all in high school ball, got mad back in South Carolina when they wouldn't let him play running back, so he said, I won't play at all. He played the drums in the band. Pretty good player as well. They were an outstanding band there in Fairfield, South Carolina. Went to the Mardi Gras. Then he 4 years in the Marines. Then in Mount San Antonio Junior College, he gained 1,000 yards. That's when he started playing seriously out of the Marines. Then 2 years at Utah, gained 1,000 yards, and then as a rookie 1,000. So
could you repeat that?
What a pickup! What a pickup for the Broncos. And he has pushed back this time. Eric Hicks from the University of Maryland, 14 sacks in just 11 starts a year ago. Looking for his first this season with 6'6" and 280. contact. He is. No fumble. As Ray Crockett able to make the tackle, but Smith a fingertip grab.
And I'm sure Kansas City's going to argue, did he have possession? Let's take a good look at it. Oh, the out and up by Smith. Yes, he certainly had possession. He certainly did. He never pulled it to his body, but he has definite control of the football there in both hands. Kind of a dangerous way to carry it, but he doesn't come loose until he hits the ground. That was a sensational piece of work by Ron Smith.
Orlando Jerry finding a gap in that interior defense, and he's down to the 22-yard line, and Marv Patton made the tackle. Back to Rod Smith, who leads the league in catches and yardage, and he's over the 100-yard mark again today. That ties him for the all-time Denver record in most 1,000-yard seasons. With Lionel Taylor, who had 24 1,000-yard games in the early 1960s. The great Lionel Taylor. Down as Jerry inside the 20-yard line. Would have the first down, but
Most against the Broncos. So what do you think of the new ballpark here, Dick? Invesco Field at Mile High?
I love the old place, as you did, Dan, and in many ways you feel like you're in the same stadium. It's constructed along the same line, same size, more amenities.
It's a beautiful ballpark. It really is a good-looking
Illegal motion on the offense, number 85. He went in motion from the scrimmage.
You could see the scoreboard, but that's just a little...
Second down.
Well, they brought the Bronco over. There was never a doubt that was making the trip. Just about 500 yards away. Right next door, Mile High Stadium still stands.
So after the penalty, second down and 7. Anderson back in there, and he's down close to the first down at the 20.
And I said 500 yards. That's basically from one end to the other. There's Mile High. It's just literally right beside the new stadium here. It'll be knocked down and turned into parking, which is a bit of a problem for the folks attending Broncos games now, because they're not going to do it until the football season is over.
This, for those of you who know Denver, as you look at the yardage there, this is the site where the old McNichols Arena used to stand. Third down and short. Greasy left alone, so he'll run to the 10, and a first down inside the 10. Tackled by Hicks.
And that was just a case where everyone in the Kansas City secondary was doing such a great job of coverage. They're going to bottle up everybody that Brian is trying to find downfield. Look at the play action. It took 8 of the Kansas City guys with it. And then when they finally were able to recover, Greasy's already downfield and picked up the first down. See, that's when you're running the ball as effectively as Denver, play action is beautiful.
Anderson on first and goal is stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Donnie Edwards and others in there for Kansas City. We're in the third period, running very quickly through this third quarter. 5 minutes and change left, with the Denver Broncos trying to add to their 10-6 lead. Move and a flag down as Anderson is swallowed by 4 Kansas City tacklers, led by Eric Downing, a rookie out of Syracuse. No preliminary signal.
Holding. Offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty remains 7.
Just the right tackle, guilty of the hold.
Anytime the umpire throws the flag, the offensive linemen all kind of start looking around at the ground, hoping that it wasn't me. That the umpire, sometimes his flag will come on a face mask, but 95% of the time it comes in on it comes in. The right tackle, Matt Leptis, right here, we're taking a look at it right there. Yeah, he's got the hook. He doesn't get it out in time. And the umpire was just looking right at it. He had left this right in his view the entire time.
So second and goal from the 17-yard line. Alondas Gary. And now the big man, Gary at 5'11" and 210 is bounced back by Jerome Woods. Brings up third down. Ray Crockett walked off favoring a leg on the previous play. We'll watch the sidelines to see if he's all right. From the 13-yard line, third and goal.
They're rubbing his calf. Looks like they're working on Ray's right calf. That's it's an injury that, as a corner with the stopping and the starting, it can really be a problem.
So a third and goal play. Pump fake, Greasy. And he gets it to the 6-yard line. Morris gets past there to greet him, and on will come Jason Elam in the field goal unit to try to put the Broncos back on top by a touchdown. Morris gets past. His mother plays professional football, is $25 a game, and he's learned at a very young age to love this sport.
There aren't many guys that can say that.
Mom, L.A. Dandelions.
A claim made by very few.
24-yard attempt. And Elam drives it through. Mike Shanahan's Broncos lead by 7.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Jeep, makers of Grand Cherokee, Wrangler, and the all-new Jeep Liberty. IBM, taking e-business and your business to the next level. And by Domino's Pizza. Get the door. It's Domino's.
Welcome back. 3:04 left in the third. As Jason Elam, after that short field goal, kicks it off. 13-6 Denver. 8-minute, 17-second drive to a field goal by the Broncos. Dante Hall collects it at the 1. Former Texas A&M star trips out to the 30-yard line and cut down by Deshaun Smith. Timeout. Broncos 13, the Chiefs 6.
And that $1 million for me.
The Amazing Race. All new CBS Wednesday.
Back in the Mile High City with a reminder Thursday on CBS, the #1 show on television returns. All new adventure in one of the world's most dangerous places. The opening starts. Find out who will be the first one voted off. Survivor Africa Thursday, 8/7 Central on CBS. Green on first down, throws complete to Gonzalez, and he has another 15 yards in the first down. Tony Gonzalez.
Well, a typical day for Tony in that just a lot of spectacular things on every part of the field, whether it's catching, whether it's blocking right there on Bill Romanowski, and maybe just being in the right place at the right time. Well, why is it that really good players have a tendency of always being in the right place at the right time?
In all sport. That'll go in his scrapbook, that last one.
Yes, it will.
5 catches, 78 yards for Gonzalez today. This one thrown underneath, doubling catch. And up to the 50-yard line goes Scoop Minnis. And the report elsewhere. Jim Nance, what do you have for us?
All right, we've got an update, Dick, on the Jets game. Jets were up at one time 28-6. Alex Van Pelt in for Rob Johnson, injured in the first half. Van Pelt to Peerless Price. He breaks it 70 yards for a touchdown. It's Van Pelt's second touchdown pass of the half. Now 28-22. Let's go back out to Dick and Dan.
Things brewing at home for the Buffalo Bills. Thank you, Jim. Here's 13-6. Low-scoring defensive struggle. At midfield, the Chiefs. Second down and 3. Lobs it up for Thomas, and it's intercepted by O'Neal. His second of the game.
Well, Dick, why don't you try being an analyst? You explain what Trent Green was doing there.
I'll be right back.
How will you use it?
Mike Shanahan told us last year that O'Neal has the hands of a wide receiver. Well, he's shown it today. 2 picks, And he stops the Chiefs at the 27-yard line, and Anderson barrels off tackle out to the 32-yard line.
Well, first of all, Trent Green delivering the football. He read the pressure up the middle, but not many good things happen to a quarterback when he throws the football, jumping backwards and falling backwards, and which is what Trent Green did right there. But secondly, again, confusion between Green and his receivers downfield. That time, Chris Thomas was the receiver closest, and he was nowhere near where Trent Green thought he was supposed to be. That's about the fourth time we've seen it today, where Trent Green thought one of his receivers was going to be one place, and they were someplace quite a few yards away.
And he watches Mike Anderson make a brilliant quick cut back to the inside and pick up another Denver first down to the 39-yard line. We're in the final minute of the third quarter. Denver leads by a touchdown.
You only get so many mistakes that you can expect to overcome on the road at a place like this, Dick. And Kansas City is coming close to using up their quota.
And Haight played his ball at Alabama out of bounds at the 46-yard line. That's probably the final play of this third quarter.
Patrick Haight, tight end, fullback, H-back, you name it. He's pretty much the guy who does everything.
And that is the end of the third quarter here in the Mile High City. Broncos 13, the Chiefs 6 will return to Invesco Field at Mile High right after this message and a word from your local station.
8:13.
We open the fourth quarter with Denver leading 13-6 and owning the ball at their own 46-yard line, second down and 3. Landis Gary, the running back, and he's wrapped up after a short gain, if any. Marcus Patton.
Well, Trent Green and Dick Vermeil were talking during that timeout. Again, there's confusion in the Kansas City passing game. And Dick trying to talk to his quarterback. It's a tenuous thing, the confidence level between a quarterback and his group of receivers. And that was not the first time that we have seen Trent throwing the football to a place where a Kansas City receiver had run to another place. Not good.
Third down, a yard and a half. And Gary has plenty. First down into Kansas City territory. Lou Bush made the tackle. At this point in the season, which team has been the most impressive? Well, here are some options for you. Mark them down. San Diego loses today. Green Bay trying to remain unbeaten. Oakland was well ahead. For the best NFL info on the net, including expert analysis, in-depth team reports, go to cbs.sportsline.com or AOL keyword CBS Sportsline. And log on and cast your vote. The team you think has been most impressive really this year. And Gary giving Anderson's tired legs a rest, and he shows some spring, and he is to the Kansas City 43-yard line. Last week against Baltimore, that great Raven defense allowed only 61 yards to the Denver runners, and today 189 yards, led by the 144 from Mike Anderson.
And nice to see Olandis Gary getting some carries and getting back into the swing of things towards ACL in there. Remember last year, the opener on Monday night against the Rams, and he missed the whole year. And nice to see him getting in there.
Second and 6, Gary again. And tackled at the 42-yard line. Will bring up third down and about 3.5.
And what a luxury to protect the lead, to be able to hammer away with the football. And when you take out a 1,000-yard rusher and replace him with a 1,000-yard rusher, while your injured 1,000-yard rusher, who's not even suited up, watches from the sidelines to offer advice. Can you imagine that? Mike Anderson, Olandis Gary, Terrell Davis, all on the same football team.
1,000 yards in consecutive years. On third and short, Anderson back in there, and he bolts across the 40 and into Kansas City's 38-yard line, and it's going to be close to a first down. No signal yet. It is.
Take a look at Mike Anderson. Going to go to the air here. A lot of traffic down there around his legs. He doesn't want to trip over Dan Neal, his right guard, who's down on the ground. So it's just a little hop and a skip right over the top.
Anderson comes out 148 yards, 20 carries, a touchdown of 62 yards. Gets a breather. Gary's back in.
And playing at this altitude just doesn't affect the visiting team.
That's right. Here's Gary. Some terrific blocking throughout this day. We haven't really credited Malin at center and Friedman Neal at guard. Teague and Lepsis the tackle.
I'm crediting Dan Neal with really sucking it up and going. He is obviously hurting big time at right tackle. A guy obviously used to playing in pain. Started 49 games down at the University of Texas in Austin, and he is just so visibly hurting here today. It's what you like to think is the best part of an offensive lineman. Not much glory, but they just hammer over.
Gary spun down. A flag is down as he hit at the 30-yard line by Jerome Woods. Back to Neal. You'll need that rocking chair, and he can make his own. I always find it interesting when someone says, I'll make my own furniture. It's against Denver again for a hold.
Well, I hope it's not Dan Neal.
The only time you're trying to say something nice about a lineman, it's tough, isn't it?
This would be an offensive lineman's play.
Holding offense number 83. 10 yards remains second down.
Wide receiver Travis McGriff, who played at Florida, which reminds us college football coming up next Saturday. South Carolina Gamecocks against the Arkansas Razorbacks. Lou Holtz's Gamecocks unbeaten. It all begins with Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman on College Football Today. For more college football news, go to cbs.sportsline.com. AOL keyword CBS Sportsline. 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Denver protecting a one-touchdown lead after the penalty, 2nd and 17 for Greasy. Pressure, has to throw it away. He was outside the box, no flag. Looking for Eddie Kennison. Well, it's interesting that against Kansas City, Denver has not thrown a touchdown pass for 4 games plus the 3 quarters plus today. Got to go back to Elway since the Broncos were able to complete a touchdown pass against the Kansas City defense.
It's funny, Mike Shanahan and the Broncos own everybody else in the Western Division. Of course, Greg Robinson, while he was owning everybody else, was his defensive coordinator for 6 years. But, you know, against the Raiders, against the Seahawks, it's just a phenomenal record, and only Kansas City has Mike Shanahan's number.
On 3rd and 17, the throwing catch, Smith open, incomplete. He let him just a bit too much, but Smith was about to run into a couple of Chiefs. They had a bead on him. One of them was William Barty, Woods the other.
Well, Brian Greasy knows he has to hit him right here in the soft spot between the corner, Barty right there on the left-hand side, and then the closing safety coming in, who you know is going to deliver the big hit, Woods. So he just overthrew his man by just a touch, but that was the design of the play, to get right in between those two.
Great pictures. Lance Farrell, our producer, Mike Arnold, our director, and our camera crew. Boy, they're all over it. That was a beautiful shot of a man's effort trying to make a spectacular catch. Well, they run out of time on the play clock, but that doesn't bother Rowan. In fact, probably by intent, as he wants a little more kicking room.
Always a touchy call on the defense. You decline that penalty and not give him the advantage, or do you take 5 yards and, you know, hope that maybe he shanks it or something? All the players turn to the sideline to look for advice. Nobody wants to make that call on their own.
Let the coach do that. So they will take the penalty back to the 50-yard line.
You know, sometimes you decline that penalty just because you just don't give them what they want. It's just the whole psychological part of it all. They want it, so you can't have it.
So the coach thinking every 5 yards we can push him back. Let's take it. Who knows? Maybe the snap will be bad.
Of course, if he downs this at the 2-yard line.
Please put 10:46 on the game clock. 10:46 on the game clock.
14 seconds on the clock. Clock was running during that discussion about the penalty. The students of the game, Mike Shanahan and Dick Vermeil. Just a delight to spend time with them. It's one of the treasures of our job. Sit down with the great brains of this National Football League. A Gamblers that Dante Hall will take it to 10-15. Finally stopped at the 18-yard line. Chris Cole, 84 down there first after a 39-yard punt. Timeout, 10:34 left in the fourth quarter.
All new episodes of CBS Thursday.
Back in Denver for the best NFL info on the net, including expert analysis. Go to cbs.sportsline.com, AOL keyword, CBS Sportsline. Trent Green on first down, deep in his own end, throws out of the backfield to Priest Holmes. He's to the 24-yard line. One of the big players missing in the Kansas City lineup is with Bonnie Bernstein.
Well, Dick, last December, Tony Richardson actually had a career game, 156 yards against the Broncos. It must be killing you not to play.
Yeah, it's hurting. I just wish I can be out there to help my team, but, you know, they're doing a pretty good job. We just got to get some things going.
Coach Vermeil said good news. Originally, the shoulder said you might be 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Is it getting a little better, maybe sooner now?
Yeah, it's definitely getting better. Right now, we're just taking it week to week, and hopefully maybe next week I'll be back out there.
Tony, thanks. Dick?
The ingredient, Tony Richardson in this Kansas City offense.
And here's where the Romo-Gonzalez matchup really heats up.
6'3". Actually 4. Tony Gonzalez makes the catch, and Romanowski there on him, but couldn't stop the play. First down across the 35.
I mean, no secret, you need a touchdown to tie this football game up. You're in the fourth quarter. You're going to go to the guy who can make the big play, and that's Tony Gonzalez. Romo will not stray very far from Gonzalez. He'll try to follow him anywhere he goes on the football field, but if I'm Trent Green, I want Tony Gonzalez involved in my effort to move this ball down the field.
And if I'm a fan, I keep my eye on 80-80 in motion now. Give it to Holmes behind the block of Gonzalez, and Holmes to the 40-yard line, where he's straightened up with a good solid tackle from Eric Brown and Leon Lett.
One of the things they're trying to use motion to get Gonzalez separated from Romanowski when it comes to try to get him out into a pattern, try to keep him getting stuffed at the line of scrimmage, and that's a good use of that motion to set up a running play. Now we'll see if the pass play comes off that motion.
2nd and 6. He lines up in the same spot, a wing right, and in motion again. So the same look, and then into the pass on the throws the other way. Incomplete to Derek Alexander, who is looking back into the sun as he tried to find the ball. Delta O'Neal, who is starred on defense today for the Broncos with the coverage.
Offensive coordinators run one play, trying to set up another. Again, we saw the identical motion that time by Gonzalez, but as a changeup, they're going to go to the other side of the field. And Derek Alexander looking back into the sun, but that ball was just thrown too far. That wasn't a question of the sun. That thing just appeared to be in a position Alexander unable to catch too far out.
3rd down and 6. The Chiefs are 2 for 8 on 3rd down conversions today. Intercepted. And it's Delta O'Neal again, all the way to the 4-yard line. The trifecta for O'Neal.
Well, zone coverage this time by Denver. They come up front with the blitz. They put pressure on Trent Green. They're sitting back, letting everything happen underneath. And Delta O'Neal just steps right in front of Derek Alexander, number 82, who does not come back to the football. As a matter of fact, Alexander looked surprised, actually, that the ball was coming his direction. And Delta O'Neal, not turning and having to play man coverage, sitting back in the zone, saw that football coming the entire way.
He replaced Ray Crockett, who went on to Kansas City. He was the number 1 pick a year ago. So 1st and goal. Greasy throws. There's the touchdown, or will it count? Rod Smith in the end zone with a flag down in the back of the end zone.
Illegal substitution on the defense.
Against the Chiefs, illegal substitution.
Fine.
The The Denver Broncos finally have a touchdown pass against Kansas City.
Well, this time Denver puts a little motion to use. Rod Smith coming all the way across the formation, and Brian Griese just puts the ball right there. Again, what a fitting day for Rod Smith, and again, the loss of Ed McCaffrey has put so much pressure on Smith's shoulders, and he has stepped up once again.
Even at the extra point, Rod Smith, 8th catch of the game. A 4-yard touchdown, and the Broncos lead by 14. Jason Elam tees it up, 20-6 on the 4-yard touchdown. Griese to Rod Smith, and Smith has averaged 9 catches a game these first 4 games of the season, 36 already. Dante Hall deep. Ball will return it from the 1. And struggles out to the 22-yard line. Timeout with 8 minutes and 2 seconds left in the 4th. The Broncos lead by 2 scores.
Hi, and by Circuit City. We know how you feel. That's why we're here. Circuit City, we're with you.
And Kansas City now with only 8 minutes, 2 seconds left, needing 2 touchdowns to tie. And Trent Green without a touchdown pass today, and 3 interceptions, all by Delta O'Neal. You can bet he'll know where number 24 is on these pass plays. Takes to Reese Holmes, and this is Mike Cloud, the former star of Boston College, and he's out across the 40-yard line with a penalty flag down. Kenoy Kennedy made the tackle.
Well, anytime you do a double fake like that to set up a screen, the quarterback almost always takes a big hit.
Pass interference. Offense, number 88.
Pass interference against the offense. Jason Dunn, big number 89 is what we heard. It was Gonzalez.
All right, take a look in the slot, working against number 52, Ian Gold, and you just, actually Tony Gonzalez is who's called. He's actually blocking as if it's a running play, and you can't do that while it's a pass play. That penalty, I believe, is actually called against number 88, Tony Gonzalez.
It was Gonzalez, yeah. And it's the first penalty against Kansas City today, as you can see.
You can't have it both ways. You can't be executing a pass play and allowed to go downfield and block like it's a running play.
Well, the penalty takes the Chiefs back to their 12-yard line. Green on 1st and 20. And he throws underneath and complete. Holmes, and Holmes gets some of that yardage back out to the 25, about 12 yards.
Let's go back and look at the touchdown after the O'Neal interception. Right here is Rod Smith. He's on the wing, and rather than running downfield, watch him sneak and hide behind the Denver offensive line. Kansas City just momentarily loses track of him. Griese gets him the football in a position where really by that point in time, Kansas City can't defend. Pretty tough to track a wide receiver when he's running behind all those 6'5" guys.
Green underneath, complete to Alexander, and he's horse-collared at the 30-yard line by John Mobley, and that'll be just shy of a first down.
Well, what a day that second-year player Delta O'Neal had. He was their number 1 draft choice last year. There's interception number 1. He didn't start any games last year, predominantly special teams. There was number 2, and there comes the half trick. And, of course, the final one, the third interception, resulted in that Rod Smith touchdown and this 14-point Denver lead.
Got to go back 16 years to the great Dennis Smith as Holmes picked up the first down across the 35-yard line. And we have a report from Jim Nance in New York.
How about this, Dick? The Jets get 2 touchdowns in a 58-second span. A Testaverde touchdown to Anthony Beck. 2 plays later, it's Mo Lewis picking up the loose ball. Second defensive touchdown for the day for the Jets. Now up 20. Let's go back to Dick and Dan.
All right, Jim, and what were you saying, Dan? Why is it the great players are always in the right place? Mo Lewis.
Case in point.
First down for the Chiefs with 5:45 left, and Green goes long for Alexander, and it's like that Chris Thomas, not Alexander, that they send deep. man from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, covered by Jimmy Spencer.
Well, I'm not sure he was covered by Jimmy Spencer. I think he was blanketed, removed from the field, not a target, unable to catch the pass, smothered, you name it.
Give me that one again.
Yeah, there's nothing left. That ball was thrown out of bounds. No chance of a completion because of outstanding coverage by Spencer.
Green did show, however, that he can go long. He's got plenty of arms. 20 for 32, but 3 big interceptions today. Second down the middle to Gonzalez, who makes another fingertip catch at the Denver 45-yard line. Bill Romanowski there to touch him down, and Green now in the hurry-up offense at the 5:26 mark.
And Tony Gonzalez and Bill Romanowski in a trail position. He's got that bad hip, and he's not going to be able to keep up one-on-one with Tony G.
Gonzalez has 7 catches, 110 yards. Green, he's sacked, couldn't get the ball off, as Lee Woodall seeing some duty today. The former San Francisco 49er, Pro Bowler twice with the Niners.
Well, the initial pressure comes from this side over here. Kavika Pittman kind of closes the pocket off a little bit, and then it's just good hustle. Just good work. They just keep grinding away, and Woodall, with a second effort, finally collapses the pocket to the point where he falls in on top of Green.
Under the 5-minute mark, flags go down. That'll stop the clock at the 4:44 mark.
False start, offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty.
Second and 21. Tonight, the latest developments in the counterattack on terrorism on a special 2-hour edition of 60 Minutes, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, 7, of course, out on the West Coast, where it'll be seen at its regular time. 2-hour, 60-minute special tonight on the attack against terrorism. Tonight on CBS.
Thinking, hey, maybe this is my shot to get win number 5 against Kansas City. Again, 4-8.
That's unbelievable. 4-8 is his career record against the Chiefs.
Oh,
thrown up for grabs. It saves the sack as John Mobley was tearing Green down to the turf. No penalty.
Well, a couple things. The crowd wants an intentional grounding penalty, but I think more importantly, this is just too dangerous. You're just throwing a ball like that's just going to end up getting intercepted more often than not.
Where was O'Neal on the play? Let's see if the 24's in the area. Might have been his 4th.
Well, Mobley was untouched. So Trent Green, certainly in big trouble there. But boy, when there's not many good things happen when if you're going to dump it out of bounds. Just don't throw it up in the field to play like that.
Well, 3rd down and 21, and a timeout is called by Kansas City.
Stay at 8-7 Central.
And welcome back to this sparkling new stadium in Denver, where Trent Green faces a tough 3rd and 21 and throws it down the middle, complete to Snoop Minnis, and Minnis, the rookie, is short of the first down, but picks up close to 15 on the play, as they'll mark it at the 42 of Denver.
And now they'll get their opportunity to see what they can pull off here on 4th down.
The 4th and 7.
Got no choice but to go for it with 4:14 and counting left in the game. And again, what a shot. Number 53, Bill Romanowski around the ball.
Well, this is the hope for Kansas City. They've got to complete this one or they're doomed. Blitz by Gold. Incomplete. Ian Gold coming cleanly on Trent Green. No chance, and a flag is down, however.
There is a flag down
in the secondary of the Broncos.
Boy, good call by Ray Rhodes, though, coming off the edge. You're going to make Green make his quick decision.
Offense, number 88 is declined.
Tony Gonzalez for the second time ticketed for offensive pass interference. Incomplete pass, so Denver takes over on downs with a 14-point lead.
Everything you need for your business at great low prices.
And the sellouts continue in Denver. 31st consecutive year. Sold-out party.
Well, an NFL veteran right there, Eric Davis. He was locked up on Tony Gonzalez. He was right in Gonzalez's face, tied up with him, and Gonzalez got called for pushing off. It was an incomplete pass anyway, but those were the protagonists.
Mike Anderson on first down and gets a couple out to the 44-yard line. The Chiefs will spend a timeout. Lou Bush made the tackle.
Here it is right here. Here's Gonzalez and here's Davis. Now watch Gonzalez come down. There's contact, legal contact within 5 yards, and then they call Tony for pushing off, trying to gain a little separation. And Ian Gold untouched on that corner blitz.
Look at that, Bonnie Bernstein.
Well, Dick, to a man, many of these Broncos wouldn't admit the Chiefs' winning streak over them would bother them. Brian Griese, however, an exception. He said losing 4 in a row to these guys is really stuck in our craw. Bill Romanowski told us before the game, we have to be more physical defensively, beat them to the punch. Safe to say they've done that today, and particularly one sophomore named Delta O'Neal, guys.
Yes, indeed. It'll be a game that O'Neal will long remember with his 3 interceptions. Just in case you're wondering, the NFL record for interceptions in a game is 4 in history, 17 different players. The first was Sammy Baugh in 1943. The quarterback played defense had 4 picks. Second down and 8. Whoops, that'll be a motion penalty, I would think, but there's no flag. Yes, there is. That one will stop the clock with 3:40 as the man in motion did not come to a full stop. Remind everyone that the Emmy Awards presentation, one of the top features in television annually, will not be shown tonight. They have been postponed. And tonight, 60 Minutes, 2-hour special edition. Then Everybody Loves Raymond, King of Queens, and CSI. Our lineup on CBS starting at 7 o'clock Eastern. 6 o'clock here in the Mountain Zone. Well, there still is a concern for Denver, even should they win today. And it's marked this way, Dan. Rod Smith, 8 catches, a touchdown, 110 yards. The other wide receivers, 0. Ed McCaffrey's and the defense against Rod Smith. He's going to see a lot of double team, isn't he?
Right. Yeah, no, well, and why not? He is the only. We saw Kevin Casper go out early, though, with an injury. Eddie Kennison is not a factor today.
Green bootlegging off the fake to Anderson, and he just makes sure he doesn't make a mistake, as Jerome Woods will be credited with the sack. Griese just sliding down, and here's the pass distribution today. 3 to the tight end, 8 to Rod Smith, all 8.
The surprise is the 0 for the running backs, because in talking to Mike Shanahan before the game, he said, I'm really going to try to get my running backs involved in the passing game, telling us that Orlando Scary is the best receiver of his running backs, but again, just trying to compensate for the loss of Ed McCaffrey. He wanted to have his RBs more involved. They weren't today.
Well, the Chiefs have won the last 4 games against the Broncos. The last time Denver won was in December '98. Terrell Davis had a 1-yard run that tied the score at 28.
Who's that guy handing off to him?
And that's the throw from John Elway to Shannon Sharp. Sharp's 24-yard game-winning touchdown reception gave the Broncos a 35-31 win. John Elway up on the Ring of Fame. Carl Mecklenburg went up there just last week, didn't he?
The Snow Goats. Look at some of those names. Tommy Jackson, Floyd Little. There's what a storied franchise. And to think how far they've come from those uniforms that they used to wear.
And Dennis Smith joined Mecklenburg. That was the ceremony last week.
How about those uniforms, huh? Back in the early 60s.
The vertical stripes. I love the brown and gold. It brings up 4th down, and the Chiefs will get the ball with 3:22.
Is there another game with there's something happening over at Mile High?
Goodbye to Mile High flag football game. Look at this fella. Montana and Elway and Mecklenburg, the whole bunch of them out to play a flag football game. It drew some 30,000 fans at $30 a ticket. Elway still showing his competitive nature. Larry Parker returns this punt from run, and he is dumped at the 14-yard line. Good coverage. Chris Cole down there quickly again.
What a... Not that it's not fun to watch Brian Greasy quarterback this football team, but I don't believe in all the years, Dick, that I've had the pleasure of covering this fine game. I never took watching John Elway play football for granted. I never didn't think that I was watching greatness when I watched John Elway under center. It was just, no matter what happened, on good days and bad days, there was an excitement factor that just was tangible. It was physical. You could feel it.
Well, Montana was a great performer on the great team. Elway just he strutted out there, and the old John Wayne, the Duke, he always brought something special. That was Chris Thomas with the catch out to the 21-yard line. Kansas City without a timeout now. Clock running at 2:37. They go 4 wide. Green on 2nd and 3. To the sideline. Not staying in bounds, and now finally ducking out of bounds is Snoop Minnis, the young man who earned his nickname as a 2-year-old from Mom, who's always here and there and snooping around seeing what was going on. Played his high school ball in Miami. He's got 5 catches today after only 3 in the first 3 Chiefs encounters. First down, Dick Vermeil very confident about this, and he just feels that it's the team that'll learn the systems on both sides of the ball, and by the end of the year, watch out for Kansas City. The throw, and there's a leaping catch in a crowd by Tony Gonzalez. Who else? Covered by Kennedy.
Dick made a wonderful analogy to like changing your golf swing. You know it's the right thing to do, but in the interim, sometimes you don't score as well as you're used to, but you know you're going to be better, and that's the way he looks at this Chiefs football team. He's trying to change a lot about it. He knows they're on the right track, and he's really confident they'll get there.
2-minute timeout.
The agency after CSI, CBS 13.
Welcome back with Hall of Famer Dan Deerdorf. Now, I've been thinking about something for about an hour and a half. You said in the first quarter in the screen pass, the linemen don't run as fast as they used to 20, 30 years ago?
Well, they're so much bigger and more powerful.
Oh,
and moving that mass takes longer.
I was trying to think back to the days when I called your work with the Cardinals. Intercepted again. Is it O'Neal? He's in the record book. Delta O'Neal.
Man, thank God it took an NFL record to get you up and talking about me. Can you believe this?
He didn't have an interception last year, nor any in the first 3. When he found out how to do it, it's got to be quite a habit for Delta O'Neal today. 4 interceptions, the 18th man to do it.
Well, he just comes in a badly overthrown ball that appeared to be aimed somewhat in the direction of Tony Gonzalez, and Delta O'Neal just really had to sit and wait for that one to come, and it might as well have had a bow on it. Not much work involved in coming up with number 4. Well, life is good.
A lot of games have been played where somebody gets 4 interceptions in a single game.
And why do I sense that some of his happiness isn't being shared by the guy we just saw, Trent Green?
Coming up next, 60 Minutes. For those of you tuning in, it'll be a 2-hour edition of 60 Minutes tonight that will follow our telecast here from Denver, and the Bronco fans will go home saying, yes, I even know how to spell his first name now. D-E-L-T-H-A, Delta O'Neal from the Bay Area of San Francisco and California. He showed his stuff as a senior at the University of California. In his senior year, all he had was 9 interceptions and 4 touchdowns. And that earned him the #1 pick from the Denver Broncos in the draft a year ago.
I don't know what you have to do to be the AFC Defensive Player of the Week, but I nominate Delta O'Neal.
We don't have to vote on AOL.
I nominate Delta. I'm really walking out on a limb, aren't I?
Well, the Denver Broncos will go 3-1, and Kansas City 1-3. So the Broncos will move into a tie with the Chargers in the West at 3-3. And the Oakland Raiders were winning, at last I noticed, so they would share the lead as well.
And the Chiefs just keep plugging away. A lot of mistakes today, but again, I see so many things in the right direction. I don't think that they'll be. I don't think that they'll be overly discouraged by this pick. I think their team's headed in the right direction.
Shanahan's Broncos go to Seattle next week. There's Greg Robinson. He comes over to say hello to one of his former coaching compatriots at Denver. 60 Minutes coming up next. And coming up next for Delta O'Neill and the Broncos will be the Seahawks.